This is He Knows Everything, bringing you the heat and fart. We keeping the foot on the whoop. Oh, Neeks. We keeping the foot on the whoop. Oh, Neeks. And like the Tibetan mass shift that I am, I'm applying whoop on immediate pressure. Because pressure does what? He bursts his pipes. Let's talk about it, man. A lot of people are selling out for the Kwame Brown hype. They're selling out to make their platforms grow because they want to be part of the Kwame Brown train. Kwame Brown is a false prophet because Kwame Brown is not telling people the truth. This has nothing to do with skin color. See, the problem with black people are caught up in what's called symbolism. They're caught up in basically not understanding that they are mentally enslaved in their minds. They don't understand that they basically have a situation where they are hypocrites in a lot of ways. Let me explain when I say hypocrites. Kwame Brown is a guy that didn't put all his transgressions out there. Attacks on Kwame Brown is not about him as the person. It's not about defaming him as the black man. It's not about basically attacking him. No one gives a fuck about Kwame Brown as a person. I'm just going to keep it honest with you. No one cared about Kwame Brown as a person. They cared about Kwame Brown, the basketball player. There's nothing to attack from Kwame Brown, the person, because there's nothing there to attack in the first place. No one knows who Kwame Brown as a person is. He's telling his story now. Now we're getting to know who Kwame Brown, the person, is. But see, a lot of people, because they want to build up, their YouTube channels, they want to basically sell out and jump on the Kwame Brown train, the false prophet train. They end up putting themselves in precarious situations. The sad part about it is it's even folks that He Knows Everything thought would never do something like this. Because when you call yourself an alpha male, especially when you call yourself a true alpha, you don't co-sign bullshit and fuck shit like this. You just don't. Kwame Brown is what's prevalent and what's wrong with the systemic issue that's associated with most black individuals. They don't take ownership for shit. They basically want excuses. They want people to cry. They want people to spill milk over them. I'm the black man. I'm the black woman. I'm the victim. Listen, man. It's like in Batman when Robin, if you guys remember Dark Knight Rises, Robin was talking about when he was, at the group home. He was at the shelter. He was basically an adopted kid, and how via the adoption, as a child, they told him, it's okay, we'll be able to sympathize with you. We'll be able to empathize with some of the things that you're going with, right? Some of the things that you're going through. But he said as he got older and then he became an adult, after a while, they stopped feeling sorry for him. And they expected him to figure the shit out. As an adult, whether you're a black man, black woman, black person, am I sitting here and saying that you're not going to feel the transgressions and the oppressions, and you're not going to feel the fact that you have to work twice as hard? All of these things are prevalent. All of these things are true. I'm a black individual. I know this to be true. No one can say that He Knows Everything does not put his own first. That's just not something that you can ever say. Now, I've been accused of being a sellout, which is weird. Which to me, the irony in that is funny. I don't know if it's because He Knows Everything no longer works with certain people anymore, and they want to lash out their emotions and frustrations, and they want to say that He Knows Everything's a sellout. But like Tupac told Nas, you and I know the truth, motherfucker. You and I know the truth. People know deep down that He Knows Everything's always been authentic and consistent from day one. So there's no need to delve into that. What we are going to delve into, and what we are going to talk about, is the fact that Kwame Brown is the problem that's associated with black people. Kwame Brown is the staple. He's the poster boy. He's the poster child of black folks not taking accountability of their own actions. My issue with Kwame Brown is not an issue. I don't know Kwame Brown to have an issue. If you guys know he knows everything does not have issues with people. It's really about their profession, their trade. When someone is not very good at their profession and their trade, it speaks volumes of them as an individual. And people are like, well, why would you correlate that and them as an individual? Because if you're mediocre at the very thing that you're supposed to be the best at, then that means that you're going to be mediocre with everything else that you do. Because people have to understand, mediocrity, it follows you throughout your life. Mediocrity is something that echoes with you. It's like Maximus, Decius said in Gladiator. What you do in this life echoes into eternity. Let me say it again. No, let Maximus Decius say it again. What you do in this life echoes in eternity. What does he mean when he says that? Well, what you do in this life, if you are mediocre in this life, it's going to echo into eternity that you were mediocre. And if you are great in this life, it echoes into eternity that you are great. See, this is what people have to understand. This is what people have to accept. And we need to stop making excuses because we always want to play the victim. Yeah, we're black. I'm fucking black. But I'm not sitting here making no excuses. I'm not going to play no fucking victim. I know what I got to deal with as a black man. I know what I've faced with police. I know what I've faced with, being basically the black guy in the room. I know what I face even today. You have all of the money in the world and you step into a room and people, they look at you sideways. So you always have to have your checking in the back of your pocket so that you can check motherfuckers quick, fast, and hurry. I still deal with this. So I understand all of that. But I still don't use none of that as a license for me to say that it's okay for me to be mediocre in my trade and in my profession. That right there is an indictment on myself. The fact that I'm a black person, I really need to ensure that I'm not mediocre in my profession or my trade, because they're already criticizing me because of the strength of. So then I go and showcase mediocrity, and then I go showcase basically that I'm mediocre as fuck in my trade or profession. I'm gonna get a double whammy. This is what Kwame Brown is not coming to the conclusion of. He's not coming to the truth of. We're not talking about you as a person. We don't care about you as a person. We never did. Kwame Brown's 15 minutes of fame is going to fizzle out. I'm telling you guys this stuff because in a prediction constructing in Nostradamus fashion, when he knows everything, gives you a prediction, believe it. It's almost always going to be right. Like Nostradamus, 99.9999% of the times, these predictions always fall in the mold and in the lineage of a he knows everything. And Kwame Brown is going to turn on people. All of these people you see that are supporting him right now, he's going to turn on them. Because this is what false prophets do. They give you false propaganda. If he wanted to fall on the rocky foundation of being a true prophet, he should have started by saying that he was an NBA bust. Why don't you be your own butt of your jokes? See, alpha males don't mind making fun of themselves. I make fun of myself all the damn time. If I do something funny, if I burp, if I have a booger in my nose, I've had this happen to me while I do fucking videos. If I sit there and I have something in my eyes, or if I sit there and I look weird or I look tired, I laugh at myself. Because if you can't laugh at yourself and you can't poke fun at yourself, then when other people do it, you're gonna feel some type of way. Kwame Brown feels some type of way, and all of these rants are because of the fact that people poked at him as a NBA basketball player. Kwame Brown is someone that you could tell was bullied as a kid. You can tell. Size don't mean you don't get bullied. Bully is just a mental thing. It's not a physical thing. You can tell Kwame Brown has been bullied all his life, and he's fighting back. And it's okay to fight back as a person who's been oppressed. But make sure that when you're doing this, you start off by why you have to fight back. We need to know your mission statement. Your channel's mission statement tells us that you are a bust for life. It seems that the name of your channel is more authentic than you. Let me say it again. It seems that the name of your channel is more authentic than you. And you got a lot of people, even people that he knows everything put on, people that he knows everything built up. Because there's not a YouTube channel that he knows everything has an influence. Name a channel that he knows everything has an influence. I mean, you could see it. In so much so that people in the comment section are now telling he knows everything, man. People that we thought were, supporting you, people that we thought were cool with you, they're indirectly talking bad against you. He knows everything's not surprised because everyone's trying to chase the he knows everything crown. But in order to chase the he knows everything crown, you have to be he knows everything. See, he knows everything does not have to ever worry about anyone saying, you built your channel this way, you built your channel off of this person. And it didn't happen that way. My channel grew organically and it's continuing to grow organically. Now he knows everything is more polarizing these days. Folks are okay, but see, this is the thing that people got to understand. When you put a new message out, when you put change out, change is not something that he knows everything is afraid of. Eventually people get adjusted to it. Eventually people get used to it. Eventually people get comfortable with it because they realize that that is now your norm. That's all you have to do. Filtrate people's mind to make sure they understand that this is where you're at in your life. Everyone's going to evolve. Everyone's going to transform. Everyone's going to change, but everyone's also going to add elements to themselves. You can't expect he knows everything, formerly known as he knows the sport, to be the same he knows the sport of 2019 that he is today. I've evolved in 2 years later as a man. I've evolved, as just a human being. I've evolved in so many ways. So the message is not going to be the same. But he knows everything's message. It's not off the strength of anyone else. The problem with Kwame Brown and the problem with all of these zealots that are now supporting Kwame Brown, when they're hypocrites themselves, because if you ask them prior to Kwame Brown having rants what they thought of him, they would have said that, yeah, he's a joke, he's an NBA bust. Now all of a sudden they're on this guy. So you took the fact that people called you an NBA bust. You see, I have little inklings of spit in my mouth. I poke fun of myself. It's not that I have it, it's just I'm talking, and you know how it is. Sometimes, saliva just does these types of things. But I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable in my own skin. Kwame Brown is not comfortable in his own skin. If you look at Kwame Brown, you see it's a brother that's crying out for help. And we hear you. We hear your cries, Kwame Brown. We hear the fact that you're crying emphatically. We hear the fact that you are having issues. We get it. We understand it. And we're going to do the very thing that we should have done in the first place. Maybe he knows everything we should have done in the first place. If you need a shoulder to cry on, here's a shoulder to cry on. Let me say it again. If you need a shoulder to cry on, here's a shoulder to cry on. A lot of people are revealing themselves for what they are, man. They are fake individuals. This is why they root for a fake person like Kwame Brown. Because when we get to a point as black people to where we use our blackness as such a shield falsely, to the point to where we tell ourselves that it's okay for us to accept mediocrity, it's okay for us to accept being average, it's okay for us to accept not basically hitting the hot pocket issue, which is the fact that we didn't achieve what we were supposed to, we didn't attain what we were supposed to, and we were mediocre in our trade and profession. It's a things that make you say, It's a things that make you say, Kwame Brown needs to tell people the truth. And until he tells people the truth, he will always be living a lie. Kwame Brown doesn't need to answer to he knows everything. He doesn't need to answer to anyone else. But he damn sure needs to answer to himself, and he needs to answer to God. And when he looks at himself in the mirror, and he looks at the man above, he has to explain why he wasn't honest with telling people that he was an NBA bust. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. The numbers tell us that you were garbage as a basketball player. The numbers tell us that you did not achieve and attain what you were supposed to in your NBA career. When He Knows Everything gets after Kwame Brown, it's not because of him as a black man. I would never get after a black man. That's not my thing. And if anybody thinks that, you're sadly mistaken. If there's anybody that has supported their own, it's He Knows Everything. Look how many YouTube channels that are black brothers, black individuals that He Knows Everything has brought up. So if I wasn't about building up my own, these folks that have an existence on YouTube is because of the partnership and the time that they spent with He Knows Everything. Let's keep it a buck. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it 1,000. No one was checking for these motherfuckers before they merged with He Knows Everything. So the fact that they got on with He Knows Everything, they're in the position that they're in now. That's the cold-hearted. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat truth teller fashion. So this is not even me doing lip service. The proof is in the pudding. This is why Maximus Decitus said it best. What you do in this life echoes into eternity. He Knows Everything is known to build up his own, build up minorities, just like He Knows Everything, because He Knows Everything is a minority. Now, black folks in America deal with a two-edged sword. He Knows Everything has to deal with a three-edged sword, because I'm of Haitian descent. So not only do I have to deal with the fact that I'm a minority, which is a edged sword, not only the fact that I have to deal with the fact that I'm black, which is a two-edged sword, I have to deal with the fact that I come from the first republic, the nation of republic that got their independence in 1804, and we're still being oppressed by French, and we're still being oppressed by America because of the fact that we were the first blacks to say, hey, we set the tone, we set the example. This is the bloodline I have. This is why He Knows Everything is the way that he is. He's Haitian American. And we set the tone that we're going to not let our masters oppress us. We're not going to let our masters dictate our pace. We're going to couper tête, hule kai, meaning cut their heads off and burn their houses down. We're going to use guerrilla warfare tactics. So please spare He Knows Everything, the whole sellout, all that nonsense. To be honest with you, He Knows Everything is 1,000 times more black than a lot of people that so-called profess themselves as black. So it's not about that. It's about Kwame Brown and him not telling the truth. And the truth is, you failed as a basketball player. If you started your mission statement that way, then He Knows Everything will be the first one to say, this is a true prophet and he has a true message. Now, we're willing to entertain all of the outlier conversations that you have. And here's the double whammy in it. You're sitting here, Kwame Brown, and telling people that they've supposedly did personal attacks on you, but you are taking personal attacks on people. Why aren't you turning the other cheek? Why aren't you taking the higher route? There's a lot of hypocrisies with this guy. I don't know why people can't see through this, man. But He Knows Everything's discernment goes off the charts. The problem is, a prophet is not honored in his own home, but those whom they've rejected became the chief cornerstone. Every time you guys reject a He Knows Everything message, later on you end up having to eat more crow, because it comes to find out that a He Knows Everything message was always true, or almost always true. Kwame Brown is fake, man. He Knows Everything sees right through him. And those that are supporting Kwame Brown, he will turn against you. He will backslide. And he will reveal his true colors. That's the cold-hearted. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat truth teller fashion. P.S. I leave with this. Maya Angelou said it best. When a person shows you who they are the first time, believe them. Kwame Brown wants your apologies. He wants your sympathies. He wants basically your, what we would say, empathy. But we didn't ask for any of this, Kwame Brown. You put it out there. But you also have a responsibility and a license to tell people, because people are not deceived by their own eyes, that you failed as a basketball player. That's the cold-hearted. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat truth teller fashion. And then I got to do another PS. Never done this before. Double PS. For all of you guys in Rudy Poop and Plum Plum Brain fashion. All of you gals in classic Dotes and Troglodyte fashions. All of you guys and gals with the ultra fanboys and the ultra fangirls, with the ultra fanboys and the ultra fangirls rhetorics that are jumping on the Kwame Brown show, that are jumping on the Kwame Brown train, you all will be revealed as what you are as well too. Fake as fuck when it's all said and done. Because Maximus Decitus said it best in the gladiator arena. What you do in this life, it echoes into eternity. That's the cold-hearted. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat tell of fashion. I keeps the foot on the whoop. Higgs. I keeps the foot on the whoop. Higgs. This is He Knows Everything. Check it out. Go ahead, He Knows.